As we quickly go into the Word of God, it starts saying, "But Mary stood outside the tomb weeping. As she wept, she knelt to look into the tomb and saw two angels sitting there dressed in white, one on the head and the other at the foot of where Jesus' body had been laid. They said to her, 'Woman, why do you weep?'" This is what I want you to focus on. She said, "They took my master, and I don't know where they put him." They took my master, she said, and I don't know where they put him. I want to talk to you just a few moments this morning from the sermonic topic, where is Jesus? Where is Jesus? Now, let me start off by saying there are very few things in the world more frustrating than losing something. Very few things in the world that are more frustrating than when you lose something, especially something good, something that, like, personally, I can't stand when I lose stuff, and sadly it happens a lot because I'm a little bit clumsy or absent-minded sometimes. I'll admit that. And I wonder, is anybody else in here a little bit clumsy or absent-minded? Anybody ever lose things from time to time? Well, I can say for me, y'all, that I got it bad. I always have. I remember even as a kid, I had a horrible habit of losing things. I mean, a terrible habit. Not a month went by without me losing something, big things and small things. I remember, as a matter of fact, in 3rd grade, my teacher, Mr. King, he was especially irritated with me because I was terrible at keeping up with things as simple as my pencils. I mean, my mother would buy packs and packs of pencils at the beginning of the year in September, and by the end of September, I didn't have a pencil to my name. And my mama was a good woman, and she loved us, and she provided well, but if she bought something and you gave it away, as she called it, because she never saw it as losing, she said gave away. If you gave away stuff, she was going to make you wait it out and sweat a little bit before she bought some more. And so at the end of September, there would always be a couple weeks where I would have to just beg my teacher or beg somebody around me for a pencil because I always lost things. And you would think that as I got older, I would have graduated away from that, but I guess I did graduate from losing pencils, but it went to bigger things. I got in about 5th grade and I had a terrible habit of losing my jackets. And the parents got kids that go to school and leave jackets. I would lose jackets. I remember there was one year, I think I lost 2 in 2 months. And because I lost 2 good jackets, 2 y'all expensive jackets, my mama said, "All right, you lost 2 jackets, so I'm going to get you another one because I don't want to go to jail for letting you be cold. But I'm not going to get you a jacket from the store I usually go to. I'm going to get you one of them blue, white, and yellow specials." One of them blue, white, and yellow specials, y'all. She took me down to the place with everyday low prices. Got me one of them blue, white, and yellow specials. She said, "I'm not spending another $100 plus on a 3rd coat for you to lose." I always lost things. And you would think I would have learned my lesson from having to always be losing and always embarrassed and always sad. But I just graduated to losing even bigger things. Matter of fact, about 3 weeks ago on Saturday, I lost my wallet, y'all. My Lord. Lost my wallet for how long? Maybe probably about 6 days. Crystal ended up finding it, as she often does. The blessing now being an adult is that I have a wife who has good sense, and she often finds my stuff. But I lost my wallet for about a week, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And anybody know that fear that comes when you lose something important like a wallet? I remember I was looking for it every 30 minutes. I was checking my bank accounts and my credit card, trying to make sure that it hadn't been stolen, just nervous, and had that feeling in the pit of my gut that I hadn't gotten since I was little, and I lost something. I thought I was going to get a whooping. I had that terrible feeling in my soul because I had lost something important. And there's nothing worse than when you lose something important. And here in John chapter 20, Mary stands at the tomb weeping and saying, "They took my master and I don't know where they put him." Church, what must she have felt like that morning, unable to find Jesus? If it's hard to deal when you can't find a pencil or a jacket or a wallet, imagine what it's like when you feel like you've lost Jesus. Y'all, she hasn't just lost a piece of money, she's lost her peace of mind. She didn't just lose the keys to her Ford, she's lost her Savior and Lord. She's looking everywhere, running through a boneyard, weeping and breathless, stumbling over weeds and stones with tears in her eyes, and she can't find Jesus anywhere. Y'all, where is Jesus? And she's lost something so important. This is the one who loved her despite her stuff. This is the one who had room in her heart even though she was a sinful woman. This is the one who deputized her, made her her patriarchal culture said she had nothing to offer as a woman. This is a man who did not overlook her. He valued her as a disciple. He promised her new life. He beat back death and sickness in her vision. This is one who she saw had the power to overcome death, hell, and the grave. This is the one who healed. This is the one who led. Y'all, it's early Sunday morning, and when she went to sleep last night, Jesus was somewhere in a grave, and when she wakes up this morning, she can't find him anywhere. So in essence, she went to sleep knowing where Jesus was, but she woke up in a world where she couldn't see Jesus anywhere. And have you ever woken up and said, I can't see Jesus anywhere in this world around me? Have you ever woken up to rumors of wars and wars all over the news and wondered where is Jesus? Have you ever woken up to news that your favorite friend was killed in an accident and tried to wonder, where is Jesus? Have you ever woken up in the midst of gross darkness and couldn't see the light of Christ anywhere and you wondered, where in the world is Jesus? Jesus said he is the bread of life, but I'm hungry. Where is Jesus? Jesus said if I taste of the water he brings, I never thirst again, but I'm thirsty. Where is Jesus? Jesus said I am the resurrection and the life, but my mama is dead. Where is Jesus? Never wakes up that morning and she cannot find her Lord anywhere. And we know what it's like to wake up in the world and look and can't find Jesus. The text says that Jesus is crucified on a Friday. And because he's crucified on a Friday, as the evening is pending, as it's getting darker and darker, what happens is that when he dies and they take him down from the tomb, they only have a little time to prepare his body and put him in the ground because Sabbath is coming. Sabbath starts on Friday night and it ends Saturday night, and so they have to make sure that they're finished with the work of preparing his body before Friday night comes, before the moon rises, before the sun sets. And so they quickly just do a little rudimentary work on him, and they put him in a borrowed tomb from Joseph because they expect they'll be able to give him a proper burial later. And so she goes home Friday night at the Sabbath, and she knows that Jesus is somewhere alone in a tomb, and she can't do anything for him because of the rules of the day. Because of the Sabbath, and she is not allowed to do the work of going and lifting him up. She's not allowed to do the work of preparing his body, and so all Saturday she waits. All Saturday night she waits. And the text tells us that early Sunday morning. Now remember old preachers who used to talk about that early Sunday morning? Well, when I was preparing, I asked myself, why did she get up so early? Why is it that she got up as soon as the sun was rising? Why is it that she's at the tomb breathless and breathing hard before the sun even rises? Good, and I realized it's because she's got unfinished business, y'all. The Sabbath caught her with her work undone, and so she wants to go there and she wants to continue preparing the body of Jesus. She wants to make sure that he is somewhere in a secret tomb so that his enemies can't steal his body. She wants to make sure that he can't be violated again, but when she gets up to do her task, Jesus is nowhere to be found. She wakes up to a world where she cannot find Jesus, and the text tells us that she worries, she's uncertain, she's distraught. Because she does not know where Jesus is. She knows where she left him. She knows where they said they put the body. She knows what tomb to look into. That's clear because she runs to the tomb. She knows where he ought to be. But Jesus is not where he ought to be. Let me pause. You ever went to where they told you Jesus was and you got there and he wasn't there? You ever went to the church looking for help and you couldn't find Jesus? You ever went to believers looking for support and you couldn't find Jesus? You ever went to people who ought to have known better and they hurt you even more and you couldn't find Jesus because what you did was you went to a place of death and no surprise there was dead bones there? The woman goes to a graveyard because she knows when she got her last instructions they said Jesus would be there, but true to form, when she gets to a graveyard she encounters death. Dead stuff. There's no Jesus there. And so the woman has a quandary. She has an issue. She has a problem because she wants to do her due diligence, but she can't find Jesus anywhere. And so what the woman does is she looks and she looks and she looks, and the word gets back to the other disciples and they start running. Don't forget, y'all, a woman was the first one to get there. But she looks for the other disciples are coming. They're coming. They're running on their way to come and see what has happened. And Mary is already there contemplating the fact that she cannot find Jesus. She cannot see Jesus. And so basically, what's wrong? Why are you crying? And the woman knows that she can't find Jesus.
All right, all right.
And because she can't find Jesus, she does not know what to do. And as she has her conversation with this voice, she realizes eventually that it is Jesus. And we often shout and celebrate that part, but I want to go back a few verses and a few moments before. Before we get to the place of resurrection and before we get to the place of hope and joy, I want to linger at the place where she does not know what to do because she can't find Jesus.
All right.
And I want to linger there because I think there's a lesson we can learn. Give me 4 more minutes. I think there's a lesson we can learn from this woman lingering in a Jesusless tomb. She's there in the tombs, in the catacombs, looking for the Lord. She can't find him anywhere, doesn't know what to do, and she wants to see Jesus but cannot see him. And as I thought about this thing a little bit, I realized that if Jesus is already risen when she gets there, we have no idea how long he had been risen. Now, we love to say he rose early Sunday morning, and I believe that makes sense theologically, but Sunday morning is a long time. We don't know if he got up around 6:05. We don't know if he got up around 5:15. We don't know if he got up around 4:03. All we know is that when he gets there, he's up. So that leads me to believe that Jesus is resurrected. I'm saying that ISIS is stealing away girls from schools, and Boko Haram is stealing them away, and there are folks missing in all of the national cities, and Flint has no water. How often do we look at the news and say Jesus is missing, but in actuality, the resurrected Jesus is just waiting for us to find him?
Amen.
How often do we walk into the tomb and say, where is Jesus, not realizing that the only thing that keeps us from seeing Jesus faster is waiting too long to get up in the morning?
All right.
All right.
See, the earlier the woman woke up, the earlier she would have seen Jesus. Her delay in seeing Jesus is based not on anything Jesus does, but it's based on what time she gets up. And so often in our lives, the problem is that we look around and we see that it seems to be no Jesus anywhere, but maybe Jesus is waiting for us to stand up. Maybe when we see warfare and we wonder why it's there and say that it's Jesus' fault, maybe he's waiting on us to vote differently. When we look for Jesus and can't understand why our politicians aren't taking care of business, maybe he's waiting for us to stand up and hold them accountable. When we look and say we can't find Jesus in our school systems, maybe he's waiting for us to volunteer in the classroom. When we look for Jesus and can't see him, maybe the problem is him. Maybe we just snooze too much this morning.
Yes.
Mary looks for Jesus and she cannot find him, and she's bewildered. She's perplexed because she does not know where the Lord is. But the problem is with Jesus, says the problem is with Mary. And so maybe the lesson from the text this morning is the quicker we wake up, the quicker we'll see him.
Okay.
And why do I say that? Well, I say that, I know I said before, give me 4 more minutes. Maybe the reason is because Jesus has already resurrected, he's already on the throne, and he's got all power in his hand, but he's waiting for us to take the keys.
All right.
Remember that after Jesus resurrects, as we get into the post-resurrection narratives and we get into the book of Acts, and the church is established, one of the things that Jesus does is he declares that all power and authority is in his hand, Matthew 28.
Yeah.
And then he gives the kingdom, keys, and power to Peter. And then Peter goes and opens up the door of the church for the rest of us. And so it seems to me that if all authority was in his hand, and he gave the keys in his hand to the church, then the power and the authority to bind and to loose in that Bible is in the church. The power and the authority to forgive is in the church. The power and the authority to restore is in the church. The power and the authority to advocate is in the church. Maybe if we feel like Jesus isn't around, it's because we have not shown up on the scene.
Come on now.
Maybe the reason there's so much poverty is because we're not taking our place. Maybe the reason there are brawls in our downtown is because we've not taken our place. Maybe the reason our children have no respect is because we've not taken our place. Mary goes to the tomb looking for Jesus, and what she doesn't realize is that Jesus is there waiting for her to show up, but there's a little bit more to the text. Because once Mary shows up and once she interacts with Jesus, she doesn't realizes in the end, because she hears his voice. I'm finished. I mean it. I'm not going to fool you no more. She hears his voice, and Jesus calls her name. And when Jesus calls her name, it's as if something inside of her wakens up. It's